Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on November 20th, 2020 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Bhagavati Vachalam Bhangolang Ayategarim Yatithātamahan Vande Sri Guru Nidharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Isham Harihi Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna. Today we will continue with the compilation of the Sri Krishna Chaitanya book. Today's chapter is entitled Prelude to the narration of Sakshi Gopal by Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Padhyam chalanya pratima swarupo brahmanya devo nasataha gamyam desham yayo viprakrite adbhuteham tam Sakshi Gopalam aham natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of God, Brahmanya Deva, who appeared as Sakshi Gopala to benefit a Brahmana. For 100 days he travelled through the country, walking on his own legs. Thus, his activities are wonderful. Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya. Gauranga then came to the town called Katak, and to the deity famous in the world as Sakshi Gopinatha. The people saw Gauranga and the deity as non-different in their prowess and so on, the only difference being golden and black complexions.
কটকে সাক্ষী গোপাল দর্শন। কটকে আইলা সাক্ষী গোপাল দেখিতে, গোপাল সৌন্দর্য দেখি হইলা নন্দিতে।
Afterwards, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the town of Katak to see the temple of the witness Gopal. When he saw the deity of Gopal, Lord Chaitanya was very pleased by his beauty.
কটক নগরে হেনমতে মহানন্দে শ্রীগৌর সুন্দর আইলেন কতদিন কটক নগর।
This way, Lord Sri Gaurasundar traveled in great bliss.
So in this way, Lord Sri Gaurasundar travelled in great bliss,
Great ecstasy.
or in great ecstasy.
After some days, he arrived in Katak,
After some
the
days,
city of Katak.
he arrived in the city of Katak.
মহানদীতে স্নান লীলা। ভাগ্যবতী মহানদী জলে করি স্নান, আইলেন প্রভু সাক্ষী গোপালের স্থান।
Lord Chaitanya and his associates took bath in the sacred and highly fortunate river Mahanadi.
Lord Chaitanya and his associates took bath in the sacred and highly fortunate river of Mahanadi.
And Lord Chaitanya, he came to the temple of Sakshi Gopal.
Then Lord Chaitanya, he came to the temple of Sakshi Gopal. Katak is situated between the Mahanadi river and Kadjudi and is the capital of Orissa. A branch of Sri Chaitanya Matha named Sri Sachidananda Matha has been established in this city. The deity of Sri Gaurasundar and Sri Vinod Ramanjiu are regularly worshipped within the temple. From this temple, various devotional scriptures and spiritual magazines are published in the Oriya language. Chaitanya Chandrodaya.
This is why
This is a commentary by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
It may not be necessary to publish that.
It may not be necessary to publish that. Okay. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. Ganga. Ganga says, he again went to the jungle path, and then to see the Sakshi Gopal, he went to the capital city known as Cuttack. That time the deity was in Cuttack. Then he went to Puri, then taken to Satyavadi village, which is presently known as Sakshi Gopala.
Apparently, previously, Sakshi Gopal was in the Cuttack city.
Apparently, previously, Sakshi Gopal was in the Cuttack city.
At that time, Cuttack city was the capital of Orissa.
At that time, the Cuttack city was the capital of Orissa.
At the present time, it's the city of Bhubaneswar,
At the present time, it is the city of Bhubaneswar,
which is the capital.
which is the capital.
And the deity of Sakshi Gopal is now situated in a small village.
And the deity of Sakshi Gopal is now situated in a small village. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. Ratnakar, one should have darshan of Sakshi Gopal. He is of deity form, but in truth, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself.
The deity is known as the Archa Avatar.
So the deity is known as the Archa Avatar.
He comes down in the form of a deity,
He comes down in a form of a deity
so that he can be seen by the conditioned souls.
so that he could be seen by the conditioned souls.
His deity walked all the way from 100 days.
But this deity walked all the way for 100 days from Vrindavan.
So normally we would think that a stone deity can't walk.
Normally we think that a stone deity, he can't walk.
But here the Supreme Godhead in a deity form, he walked.
But here the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his deity form, he walked.
This shows that the deity is not an idol.
So this shows that the deity is not an idol.
It's actually the incarnation of Godhead.
He is actually the incarnation of Godhead. Accepting the role of a witness for a certain Brahmana, and the bells on his delicate lotus tinkling as he walked, Lord Gopal slowly followed that Brahmana. When they came to the country of Mahendra Desha, the Brahmana turned his neck to see the Lord, who promptly changed himself into a stone deity and stayed there itself. Lord Chaitanya eagerly went to that place.
All the deity had promised to follow the Brahmana.
So the deity has promised to follow the Brahmana.
He said that Brahmana could hear his ankle bells.
So he said that the Brahmana could hear his ankle bells,
And they know that he was following.
and he would know that he was following.
But when he reached his destination,
But when he reached his destination,
he looked around to see if the deity was there.
he looked around to see whether the deity was there,
The big person got it and back into the deity form.
and the Supreme Personality of Godhead turned back into a deity form, into his deity form.
So that's how he is now.
So that's how he is now. After a long time, King Gajapati Purushottam Deva brought the deity to his own capital, Cuttack. Ganga, this is so, then, Ganga. Then while looking at Sakshi Gopal, There was a moment when Lord Chaitanya thought as if Sakshi Gopal had come from his heart and was now standing before him as deity, and again he himself had entered there.
Lord Chaitanya was having this special experience
So Lord Chaitanya was having this special experience
since he himself is the Supreme Person of Godhead.
since he himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
And he's in a working form.
but he is in the walking form. Chaitanya Bhagavad.
সাক্ষী গোপাল স্থানে দেখি সাক্ষী গোপালের লাবণ্য মোহন আনন্দ করেন প্রভু হুঙ্কার গর্জন
When he saw the beauty and attractiveness of Sakshi Gopal,
When he saw the beauty and the attractiveness of Sakshi Gopal,
Lord Chaitanya was overwhelmed in ecstasy.
Lord Chaitanya was overwhelmed in ecstasy.
Shouted loudly,
He shouted loudly,
Haribo!
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 The Mahanadi river flows on the northern side of Cuttack. The deity of Sakshi Gopal was in Cuttack during the time of Sriman Mahaprabhu. This deity was later transferred to a village named Sakshi Gopala. After the disappearance of Sri Mahaprabhu, this deity of Sakshi Gopala was first brought to the temple of Jagannath and later installed in a separate village. This deity has a large four-armed form. The old story of Sakshi Gopal is described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 5.
প্রভু বলি নমস্কার করেন স্তবন অদ্ভুত করেন প্রেম আনন্দ ক্রন্দন
Lord Chaitanya cried out, Oh Prabhu, O Master,
Lord Chaitanya cried out, O Prabhu, O Master,
and he offered his obeisances and prayers.
and he offered his obeisances and prayers.
Lord Chaitanya wonderfully started to cry in ecstatic love.
Lord Chaitanya wonderfully started to cry in ecstatic love. Sakshi Gopala was previously situated in Cuttack on the bank of the Mahanadi river. When Sakshi Gopala was first brought from South India, he stayed for some time in Cuttack and then stayed for some time in Jagannath temple in Purushottama. After some loving quarrel took place there, the king of Orissa established the village of Satyavadi 6 miles from Purushottama Kshetra and kept Sakshi Gopal there. At present, Sakshi Gopala is being worshipped in a full-fledged temple. For a description of Sakshi Gopal, one should read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 5. Chaitanya Charitamrita.
প্রেমাবেশে নিত্য গীত কইল কতক্ষণ আবিষ্ট হইয়া কইল গোপাল স্তবন
While there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in chanting and dancing for some time, and being overwhelmed, he offered many prayers to Gopal. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. Then he recited this verse in Sanskrit. The splendid reddish dose its petals kumkuma from the passionate gopi's breast, its pollen, awareness of him, it is its sweet honey, the toenails are the garland of saffron splendor of its jewel, and the shanks are its top. May the lotus feet of the enemy of Putana, Sakshi Gopal, protect us all.
This is one of the prayers offered by Lord Chaitanya.
So this is one of the prayers offered by Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. Ratnakara says, then, Ganga. Then everyone saw the deity like that. Ratnakara, how was that? Ganga, in Sanskrit she said, everyone saw as if Although Sakshi Gopal was absorbed in playing the flute, he had for a moment lowered the flute from his lips and with increased pure faith and love in Chaitanya began to speak to him.
Not saying that the Sakshi Gopal deity began to speak to Lord Chaitanya.
So we are seeing that the Sakshi Gopal deity began to speak to Lord Chaitanya.
যার মন্ত্রে সকল মূর্তিতে বৈশে প্রাণ সেই প্রভু শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য চন্দ্র নাম।
Life is invoked in the deity forms
Life is invoked in the deity forms
of the Supreme Personality
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
by chanting the holy mantras.
By chanting the holy mantras,
That Lord has now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
that Lord has now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Chandra.
Chandra. The system of invoking life in the deity form of the Supreme Lord by chanting the Maha Mantra given by Sri Gaura is practiced in the Sri Gaudiya Sampradaya. Without chanting the Lord's holy names, the concept that the Archa Vigraha is made of stone does not disappear. The rules and regulations for worship that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Deva prescribed according to the concepts of the Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam verse consist of lively and proper worship of the Lord's deity, based simply on chanting the Maha Mantra. Wherever the Lord's service is performed without the physical involvement of the worshipper, or wherever the worship is performed as a matter of formality, such worship and such deities are devoid of life. Chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra preached by Sri Gaur Sundar is the topmost lively form of worship for a worshipper.
Sometimes people ask that Dharma Yuga has given deity worship.
Sometimes people ask that in the Dwapara Yuga it is given the deity worship.
Why are we doing it now?
Why we are doing it now?
In this purport, I still watch Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It reveals that actually we follow Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So in this purport by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it reveals that we follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
That we chant the Maha Mantra in front of the deity.
that we chant the Maha Mantra in front of the deity,
That brings life into the deity.
and that brings life into the deity.
When they don't chant, there's no life.
When they don't chant, there is no life.
লোক শিক্ষক শ্রী গৌর হরি তথাপিহ নিরবধি করে দাস্যলীলা অবতার হইলে হয় এই মত খেলা।
And therefore, as an incarnation, as a devotee incarnation,
Therefore, as a devotee incarnation,
he always relished enacting the pastimes as a servitor of the Lord.
he always relished enacting the pastimes as a servitor of the Lord,
As his incarnation
as his incarnation
or avatar
or avatar
at this particular pastime.
at this particular pastimes. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak, Ratnakara then Chaitanya Charitamrita.
নিত্যানন্দ মুখে প্রভুর সাক্ষী গোপাল বৃত্তান্ত শ্রবণ সেই রাত্রি তাহারহি ভক্তগণ সঙ্গে গোপালের পূর্ব কথা শোনে প্রভুর অঙ্গে।
That night Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the temple of Gopal, and along with all the devotees he heard the narration of the witness Gopal with great pleasure.
পূর্বে তীর্থ ভ্রমণ উপলক্ষে নিতাইর শ্রবণ সুযোগ। নিত্যানন্দ গোসাই যবে কেথে ভ্রমিলা, সাক্ষী গোপাল দেখিবারে কটক আইলা।
Previously, when Nityananda Prabhu had toured all over India to see different places of pilgrimage, he also had come to see Sakshi Gopal at Katak.
সাক্ষী গোপালের কথা শুনি লোক মুখে, সেই কথা কহেন প্রভু শুনে মহা সুখে।
At that time, Nityananda Prabhu had heard the story of Sakshi Gopal from the townspeople. He now recited this again, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the narration with great pleasure. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Sakshi Gopal temple is situated between Kurda Road, railway station, and the Jagannath Puri station. The deity is not presently situated in Katak, but Nityananda Prabhu travelled there. The deity was present. Katak is a town in Orissa situated on the Mahanadi river. When Sakshi Gopal was brought from Vidyanagar in southern India, he stayed for some time at Katak. Thereafter, he was situated for some time in the Jagannath temple. It seems that in the temple of Jagannath, there was some disagreement between Jagannath and Sakshi Gopal. A disagreement called Prema Kalaha, a quarrel of love. In order to settle this quarrel, the king of Orissa constructed a village about 11 miles from Jagannath Puri. The village was called Satyavadi, and Gopal was stationed there. Thereafter, a new temple was constructed. Now, there is a Sakshi Gopal station, and people go to Satyavadi to see the witness Gopal.
We had a similar disagreement between Jagannath Devi and Govardhan Shila.
So we had a similar disagreement between the Jagannath deity and Govardhan Shila.
So, since that sometimes there are disagreements
Seems that sometimes there is disagreement
between the deities.
between the deities.
So these are called Prema Kalaha,
These are called Prema Kalaha,
loving disputes.
loving disputes. The loving dispute.
So deity in Jagannath and Sardinga, she wanted to
So the deity of Jagannath in Simantudweep,
Navadip Dham
in Navadip Dham,
complained that ever since the deity of the Govardhan Shila was put in the temple,
complained that ever since the deity of Govardhan Shila put in the temple,
since he's a mountain,
since he is a mountain,
he'll eat all the prasada.
he will eat all the prasadam.
And the deity of Jagannath was starving.
And the deity of Jagannath was starving.
And then they came to me and they said, please solve this problem.
And they came to me and said that please solve this problem.
Apparently there was some huge disagreement between Jagannath and Sakshi Gopal.
So apparently there was some disagreement between Lord Jagannath and Sakshi Gopal.
And so the king of Orissa, he had to solve that problem.
So the king of Orissa, he had to solve that problem.
So I thought Sakshi Gopal got a new temple.
So that's how Sakshi Gopal got a new temple.
And I went in 1970 to see the Rath Yatra narration.
When I went in 1970 to see the Rath Yatra in Orissa,
In 71.
in 1971,
At that time, I could enter into the temple of Sakshi Gopal.
at that time I could enter into the temple of Sakshi Gopal.
Apparently now they don't let foreigners.
Apparently now they don't let foreigners.
That time there was no restriction.
That time there was no restriction.
Very beautiful deity.
Very beautiful deity. Thus ends the chapter entitled Prelude to the Narration of Sakshi Gopal by Nityananda Prabhu.
And see how these deities are actually personalities.
We can see how these deities are actually personalities.
The Supreme Personality in different forms.
The Supreme Personality in different forms.
And they have the Leela Vaishitra, the different pastimes.
So they have their Leelas by
Vaishitra,
Chitra in different pastimes.
variegated pastimes.
Variegated, Leela Vaichitya, different pastimes, variegated pastimes.
Jai Sakshi Gopal ki Jai.
Jai Sakshi Gopal ki Jai.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.